Hey, this is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. Today we are going to be installing a JB4 on the N55 with a pneumatic waste gate. We're also going to show you how to install the BMS data cable. Whenever you're working on any electrical components, you always want to make sure that you disconnect the battery. So just go ahead and pull this piece out of the way. Find the negative terminal, and it's a 10 millimeter. Go ahead and loosen it up. Take it off and then just push it to the side. Alright, so go ahead and take your JB4 and just slide off the bubble wrap and put that aside for now. Now, I always recommend doing this in a place where there's no carpet so that there's no chance of any electrical shock. The chances are greatly minimized at this, so I'm just going to do it right here on the motor. To do it, you're going to need some kind of pick tool or a small screwdriver. You're going to need a very small Phillips head, and then you're also going to need some silicone. Now, I actually just dropped this to the place of no return. But the first thing you want to do is just go ahead, there's a little plastic pin on the end, and that's just to make sure that everything stays sealed. So go ahead and just pull that out. Then what you want to do is go ahead and take your pick tool of choice, just very gently slide it in here, start to pry it up. Okay, so there's two. And there's the last one. Once you get the last one, just be very gentle. Down here. Okay, and then you'll see the connection over here that we need to work with. Go ahead and take your data cable out. Now be careful because there are two very tiny screws that are in this bag, so I've actually gone ahead and removed them ahead of time so I didn't drop them. Okay, so this connection just goes in one way. The F series, it looks like this. It's awesome to use. The E series one, I believe, has a gray connector on it, so that's how you tell the difference and make sure that you got the right one for your car. Okay, so it only goes one way. Go ahead and plug that in. Take your little screwdriver. Put the two Phillips head screws in. Alright, so now we can go ahead and put this back together. What I like to do is actually flip it around. By doing that, you can see that the chip lies right under this piece of plastic, so everything is nice and lined up, and then you can press that down. Don't worry about this grommet yet because you can always just slide that back in. You want to make sure that the rest of this is lined up properly though. Once you've done that, everything should snap with ease back together. And then what you can do is just go ahead and slide this in. So it sits down there nice. On this side, what I like to do is just get a little bit of silicone and just put it around the hole. And this will just make sure that you have a nice tight seal, because you don't want any water getting in here. Now we have two items that we need to get through the firewall. We need to get the OBD2 connection, which is a nice small piece there, and then we have to get this USB. So let's go ahead and start there. Now normally there's a little hook you put your finger in, but for whatever reason this car is missing it. What you want to do from here is just go ahead, there's three 10 millimeter plastic nuts up here, just go ahead and turn those counterclockwise. Normally you unflip it from there, and then this whole piece will just pop up. So just go ahead and set that aside. Next, right here, there is a plastic grommet. So just go ahead and remove this. And this is actually what we're going to be feeding the cables through. All right, so at this point, we are ready to pull down some of the plastics down here so that we can run those cables through the firewall. There's just two 10 millimeter bolts, so go ahead and remove those. Then once you've done that, just go ahead and gently from the side, go ahead and get your hand in. and then this will come completely down. Now take your OBD2 cable and just go ahead and reach up and just stick the wire right through the hole. Now that you have this cable, what you can do is go ahead and take that grommet and just very carefully cut an X in it. Then take that cable, just go ahead, just push it right through. Remember, this one's going from the inside of the car to the outside of the car. Then through that same exact spot, what you want to do is take your USB cable. Same thing, this one's going to go from the outside of the car to the inside. Now this is a lot tighter fit because the connection is huge. Just keep working on it and you'll get it. Okay. There you go. Again, same thing. Just take this USB and just push it right down. Now what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to leave this grommet off and we're going to go ahead and finish the rest of the installation, and then we'll come back and then we'll connect everything, make sure that this is properly seated, and we'll go from there. Now while we're here, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and connect the OBD2 connection. Now it's very important that you match up this top piece of plastic here with this prong. What happens is people do it upside down or sideways and then they realize that it doesn't work. So it'll clip right into place. Make sure that you have this correct. What we're going to do now is we're going to connect the T-map, and this is the rainbow cable that's attached to the charge pipe. So what you want to do is go ahead and just remove this one. Now to do this, what you're going to do, there's a little tab. You press the tab down, it releases a lever, and then you'll be able to pull it off. Now go ahead and make sure that you have everything lined up correctly. Just press it until it clicks. So go ahead and make sure that that's nice and solid. Go down, you clip that in. Again, everything clips in nice and it seems nice and solid, so we should be good with that. Next we're going to do the map sensor, which is these ones over here. So to do this, what you want to do is just go ahead and just lift up on the plastic cover here, set this aside. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the map connection. Just go ahead and remove this one. You might need to use a pick tool or a small screwdriver if any of these get stuck. Let's go ahead, same thing. What you want to do is just go ahead and make that connection. And make that one. On your kit you'll notice some black connections. This is for the fuel pressure connection. So what you want to do is just go ahead and just keep taking this foam away. Try not to rip it like I just did. And then on the back of the rail here, there's another one. So you can go ahead and just disconnect that like we did the other ones. Now this is more for if you're going beyond map 1 or 2. I'm just going to go ahead and connect it, whether I'll need it or not. You know, we'll see how far I end up taking this car. But if you're just going for map 1 or map 2, you really don't need it. So you can actually skip that one. Okay, so now it's time for my favorite connection because it's by far the easiest connection to get off, the pneumatic boost solenoid. Now if you're installing a kit for an electronic waste gate, you won't have this connection at all, so you can just go ahead and skip this step. So what you do is you just go ahead and press down on this metal clip and it's going to slide right off. So right here you can see the metal clip. You just press the clip in and then it'll slide right off. So go ahead and take your new connection, go ahead and just clip it right in, and then make that other connection. Make sure that everything is nice and secure, and that's all there is to it. Now if you haven't done so already, go ahead and loosen these 3 10mm nuts. Just turn them about a quarter turn, and then this one you can see has that that little loop you could put your finger in. So just go ahead and take this out of the way. The last cables that we're left with are a power cord and then also a ground. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the power. So just go ahead and grab a T50 Torx key or Torx bit for your drill, whichever you prefer. Just go ahead and loosen that a little bit. You can slide this guy in here. And then just make sure that you go back and tighten it really good. All right, nice solid connection. When you are undoing this, if you are using a Torx key, I recommend holding right here because it seems like a pretty flimsy piece of plastic. So this way, when you're tightening or loosening, you don't snap anything. All right, now we're left with just the ground. So let's go ahead. We'll take a 13mm ratchet. Undo this right here. You just want to make sure this goes in here, and then we'll tighten everything back down. Now grab a couple zip ties. Now you can go through and clean up the rest of the wires. So if you look over here, there's a little opening so you can feed some of these under here. And then for these, what I like to do is if you pull this piece towards you, it'll actually completely pop off. So this way, you can tuck as many of these up here as you can. Now you're not going to be able to do them all, but that way, especially up in this area, most of the wires are just completely out of the way. Don't forget to go back and tuck in all of your foam padding as well. All right, so once you have everything like you like it, you can go ahead and put your motor cover back on. What I like to do is just line it up with this, and then the rest of it really just seems to fall into place. You can go ahead and just turn them clockwise, about a quarter turn to lock them in. All right, so at this point, what you want to do is go ahead and pull those wires as far into the car as you can. Take that grommet, pop it into place. Now what I want you to do is put a bunch of silicone on there, because what happens is you can get water in there. And I know from experience. I walked out to my car one day and my back seats were flooded in my old white car. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what it was. But there's a hole right here by your windshield wiper. What happens is the water goes down and it formulates a perfect stream right into that spot. So never just pop that out and pop the cords in. You always want to make sure you cut a hole in it, make sure that the hole is not excessively large, and then you want to silicone it really good. Go ahead and pop this last piece of trim up here. Turn these a quarter turn. And everything's done. Okay, so now at this point, what you can do is go ahead, and I like to just pull this trim aside like this. And then if you just push on the back, you can lift this up. What I'm going to do is just feed my data cable up this way for now. For the time being, I'm just going to zip tie it in here. We're going to do another video on, show you an idea on what you can do with this cable. But this way it's at least in the car. Then what you can do is just go ahead, line this back up, push it into place. Now what you can do is go ahead and take those two 10mm nuts that you took off, put them back. And just go ahead and take your OBD2 connection. Just plug it in. Then just reach your hand in here and you'll be able to feel any extra wiring that you have from the OBD2 connection. So what I like to do is I like to keep this loose. So just go ahead and take this cable and zip tie it to the bracket that's underneath the panel that you removed. Okay, so once that's secure, what you can do, you can go ahead and grab your knife or your cutters and go ahead and cut the excess zip tie off. Then go ahead and reinstall that panel, making sure that it's seated completely flush. And then after that, you can go ahead and reinstall your weather stripping. Once that's done, your installation is complete. Once you're done the installation, make sure you go back and reconnect your battery. And then from there, you'll be automatically on stage 1. And if you have any questions on how to change maps, we do have a video on that. Again, this is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you are interested in a JB4 or another modification for your vehicle, be sure to see the link in the description. If you haven't done so already, we would love for you to subscribe and always give us a thumbs up. Again, this is Brian. Thanks so much. Have a great day.